the most recent mobile, right? iPhone X, inappropriate attention. Inappropriate attention. Number 2. Number 3, then you feel attached to this, right? He's very gentle, he's a very kind person, he will exchange it to me. You feel attached to it. Number 3 is attachment. With attachment, the other person also competes with you. And then you enter the Vendi fist fight. Fist fight is action. Action is karma. Right? Action is, in Sanskrit, action is karma. Action in Sanskrit, it is karma. So if you engage in karma, number 4. With the karma in this action, you end up in prison, suffering. Right? 5 points. Okay. So what our friend here, your name? Donovan. So what Donovan said is misunderstanding. So misunderstanding falls between the first and the second. Right? And our gentleman over there, young boy, your name? Okay, Nivol, I say. Nivol said, lack of focus. Why do you have this misunderstanding? Because of lack of focus. You getting it? And then inappropriate attention. Then attachment. Along with the attachment, then anger arises. Anger towards the competitor. With the competitor anger, then you end up fist fight. It's very stressful. Right? And then you end up in prison. And prison is not a nice place. So these are the 5 points, how we suffer in samsara. How we suffer in samsara. You're getting it? Okay, tell me, why you entered into the prison? Point number 5 is prison, suffering. Why did you go through the suffering of the prison? Because of the fist fight, which is the karma, contaminated karma. Why did you end up in the fist fight, contaminated karma? Because of the attachment and anger, affliction. Attachment, anger, affliction. Why did I have this attachment? Because I saw the mobile is not as 10 years old mobile, 20 years old mobile. It's a fresh, the latest mobile, iPhone X. Right? Why did you see this as iPhone X like this? Because of seeing the dream mobile as a real mobile. Everything started from there. Right? From the ignorance to the inappropriate attention, to the afflictions, to the contaminated karmas, to the miseries. This is how all our miseries arise. All our miseries arise like this. Right? Okay. With this in mind, tell me, if you don't want to end up in prison, what should you not have done? You should have not. Okay, good. What's the immediate cause of you ending up in prison? Fist fight. What's the immediate cause of fist fight? Attachment and anger. What's the immediate cause of the attachment and anger? Seeing the form as an iPhone is very expensive, inappropriate attention. Why that happened? Because of seeing the dream mobile as a real mobile. Now tell me, if you don't want to end up in prison, what's the ultimate cause? Final cause of you ending up in prison? What's the final cause? Seeing the dream mobile as real mobile. You're getting it? Now tell me, if you don't want to end up in prison, finally, how should you do it so that you will not end up in prison?
Wake up.
Wow.
Or not go to sleep.
Yeah, don't go back to sleep, right? Wake up. It's for this reason that the Buddha is referred to as the fully awakened one. Right? Your name?
Tomer.
Huh? Tomer. Okay, so therefore the Buddha is referred to as the fully awakened one. Wake up from the sleep of ignorance. Wake up from the sleep of ignorance. You getting it? Okay. The moment you believe it or not, you agree with me or not, if you wake up from the sleep, you are in the sleep, in the dream, in the sleep, you're constantly affected by the dream. Yes, no. Right? When your friend says, right, okay, Tomar, So I show this mobile to you. Oh, iPhone X Plus, iPhone X, right? And then, oh, Geshe, you want to exchange with mine? Then Carmen says, actually, I told Geshe already the day before. At the airport, I told him, but if you want it, you can take it. Are you happy? Not happy? You're happy. You are affected. You are affected by her kind gesture, right? And then somebody says, no. When he, from the airport, when he reached the place, right? I asked him, right? I'll do it. Then you become angry. You are affected. The dream constantly affects you, right? Affect you means you have lost your freedom. Affect you means you lost your freedom. You want to remain unaffected, and the dream constantly affects you. Okay, when will you not be affected by the dream? Hey, when will you not be affected by the dream? When you wake up, right? Don't say that when I get mobile. When you get a mobile, you're affected, right? There are repercussions there. So what you should be doing is wake up. If you don't want to be affected, right? Which is better? That you're affected by the dream all the time. You get in the mobile, you're separate from the mobile, get a mobile, separate from the mobile. This better? Or that you wake up. Oh, this is my dream, right? So which is better? Being in the dream, constantly affected by the dream, or say waking up and you are not affected by the dream. Which is better? Waking up. Waking up, the dream cannot affect you in any ways. Dream cannot control you, right? The gentleman over there, what's your name? Who said, I don't want to control? Yes? Small. Okay, what Small said is that I don't want control. So dream cannot control you anymore when you wake up. That is, you're free from the control. Free from control is known as freedom. Freedom. Total freedom. Why total freedom? Nothing in the dream can affect you anymore. That is a total freedom. Right? No, nothing in the dream can control you anymore. That is total freedom. So anybody who wakes up from the unconventional dream, samsaric dream, unconventional dream, you are referred to as the full awakened one. You are not going to be affected by any external factors. Right? So all your fears dissolve. All your fears dissolve. You getting it? Okay, let's see. How many of you have dreamt of being chased by a ghost? No? No one? 1, 2, 3. Okay, there are several others. I also. And I have lots of dreams. I have lots of dreams, ghosts chasing me. Okay. Okay, how many of you had the dream of robbers chasing you? Robber, thief, robber, or somebody chasing you. Somebody chasing you, you know, you're very scared. Okay, tell me. See, in the dream, somebody's chasing you or a ghost chasing you, right? If it's town. Okay, tell me. In the dream, when somebody's chasing you, what were you doing? Running. You're running. Right? Why are you running? Tell me, why are you running? Huh? Because of the fear. Right? If you stop running, what happens to the fear? In the dream, if you stop running, what happens to the fear? The fear multiplies, fear increases. You agree with me? Okay, now oftentimes, in the dream when you're running, you fall. Yes, no? You fall. When you fall, it's so difficult to get up. Yes, no? Okay, and the ghost doesn't stop. Right? Comes in faster. Then what happens? You're almost there. Right? Okay, now I'm done. So when you say, I'm done, now the ghost is about to get you, your mother wakes you up. Okay, your mother wakes you up, and then you continue to run? You continue to run? Huh? No. Why you don't run? In the dream, when you stop running, the fear increases. Here, why don't you run? Huh? Huh? You're not afraid anymore. Okay. Huh? The ghost doesn't exist anymore. You're not afraid anymore. The fear dissolves. The moment you wake up, the fear dissolves. You're getting it? Okay, my next question to you. Are you the same person, different person? The one in the dream and the one who's woken up? The same person, different person? Same person. Why the same person in the dream there was so much of fear, and why your fear disappeared when you wake up? Why?
Consciousness is different.
Huh?
Consciousness is different.
Consciousness is different? Tell me, why in the dream you have so much of fear? Why? We think, we misconceive. We misconceive, the dream goes as real goes. Right? Okay, why when you wake up, the fear dissolves? Why? Because I understand that it was not a real ghost, it was a dream ghost. To know the reality, you're getting it? Now tell me. Okay, Israelis are quite fast. So we're supposed to be covering this whole day. We're finishing in just half an hour. Okay, so let's say, in the dream you have so much of fear. You saw the, okay, you just tell me, you agree with me or not? In the dream, you saw the dream goes as real. Yes? No?
Yes.
Good. Seeing the dream goes as real is ignorance or wisdom?
Ignorance.
Very good. With the ignorance, the fear arises. Yes? No?
Yes.
Okay, so this is analogy that all our fears are rooted to the ignorance. Now, when you wake up, you get such a relief. It was just dream, right? The dream ghost was not real, it was my dream. So that realization that the dream ghost is not real, it's just my dream. This is ignorance or this is wisdom? Wisdom. When you have this wisdom, your fear dissolves. Ignorance is responsible for all the fears, and the wisdom is responsible for dissolving all the fears. You getting it? This is extremely, extremely precious knowledge. Okay. Yes.
Dream is not reflected some things in your real life?
Okay. Okay. Does the dream reflect something of your real life? Right? Okay. The answer is in most cases dreams are because of the activation of this imprints, mental imprints from the past lives. This life and the past lives. In the past. Sometimes, rarely, dreams can be prophetic. Prophetic meaning that it can be indicative of what's going to happen in your real life. It can be. Okay, so the point is that unless, okay, if you have questions meaning that I say something and the say clarification is required, clarification, right? Required, feel free to bring up. Otherwise, we'll keep a separate 20 minutes in the end for question answers, right? Whereas without this clarification, then the remaining talk makes no sense. If that is the danger, you can raise your hands, right? Whereas if it's just a side question, keep them and ask me at the end 15 minutes, right? So that there's going to be a flow. Okay, now with this, what we have discovered, what we have learned is that the ignorance gives rise to all the fear. The wisdom dissolves all the fear. Okay, with this analogy, this should be the message that we should be taking home. Okay. Now, so with this, now let us be. I'll take to the next point. Okay. So far, any question related to what I've discussed, what we have discussed thus far, related? Yes.
Just to make sure, when you said what kind of suffering, and I said discomfort. So if we say about the 5 points, so discomfort is an inappropriate attention.
Okay, discomfort. This is a good question. Discomfort falls under the point number 5, suffering. Yes, suffering. But if you go into the subtle explanation, then they can overlap. Discomfort of the another karma is linked with the fresh karma created. Overlapping can happen, right? Overlapping can happen. Okay. Otherwise, my direct answer is that it falls in discomfort, fear, all ultimately fall under point number 5, suffering. Yes. Yes.
So you said that there are types of suffering that comes from ignorance, or there are other types of suffering that come from other things?
Okay. In fact, what I said is that all suffering that we go through should necessarily come through ignorance.
Why?
Always, right? Always. Okay. The question is why. So for that matter, we need 2 days. And even this 2 days is not actually sufficient. We have the 5-day retreat. Right? But for the 5-day retreat, I think the registration is full. Right? But don't worry, you can get the recordings. Right? You have to listen to the recordings. And then after this not sufficient, you have to go for a 1-year diploma course. Nalanda diploma course, Tibet House. After this 4 years, Nalanda master's course, then you will understand it fully. You will understand fully, and by the time, right, you'll be very happy. Right? Wow, finally I've got an answer. Very good. But don't suppress the question. This question is very important. In other words, how can we say that all our problems are related to ignorance? How can we say this? And if you are extremely precise, you can say that I can think of one problem which is not related to ignorance. You can give me some examples. Say that this is a problem which I think is not related to ignorance, and you are saying it's related to ignorance. How that is so, right? So this is how we refine our questions. Okay, good. Any more question? Okay, if not, we'll go further. The next, right? Okay, just see what am I doing. Just see what I'm doing. What I do? Right. Okay, with this, what happened? The sound came out. The sound came out. Okay, so this sound of the clap is analogous to the suffering which we are going through. So this suffering which we are going through, symbolized by the sound of a clap, should necessarily come into being, just as this sound of the clap should necessarily come into being by the combination of the 2 hands, right hand and the left hand. If you just put down your left hand and then right hand, however strong, no sound. Do you agree with me? You getting it? No sound. Okay. Now, likewise, if you remove the right hand and with the left hand, however strong, no sound. So for the sound of the miseries to arise, it must be through the combination of the 2 hands. Likewise, for the sound of all miseries should necessarily come into being by the combination of 2 factors, external factors and internal factors. This is extremely important. Okay. Anyone? Why I requested Leora to please switch on the AC. Why did I say this? Anyone?
The conditions makes.
Huh?
The conditions are hot.
Conditions are hard, right? Did you hear this? Did you hear the answer from Diana? Dana, right? Huh? No, yeah, right? So you will say that I feel hard. Means the air is hard. We don't say that my body is weak. We always blame outside. Air is hard. Right? Okay. I was in Malaysia. From Delhi, I flew to Malaysia. Delhi was then, once it reached 45 degrees centigrade. From there, then I flew to Malaysia, and Malaysia, my host, they were saying that it's so hot now, so hot. I said, you're joking, you must be joking. He said, no, it's so hot, I'm sweating. I could feel the breeze. I came from 45 degrees centigrade and it's just 33. It's so pleasant, so up to the breeze. It's amazing. So we don't come, we just blame outside. It's so hard. We never say that my body cannot bear this 33 degrees centigrade. Israelis' body, they cannot bear 31 degrees centigrade, right? So therefore, we never look inside. We always blame outside, right? Of the two hands, you think that all sound is because of the right hand, right? Only one hand. In actuality, no. Both hands are involved, right? Right hand plus left hand, both involved. And some people, they go to the extreme of saying that, no, external things, it's just a thinking is your mind. That's not true. We should be very, very practical. We should be very, very realistic. Both are involved, external and internal, both involved for the problems. Because both are involved, don't ignore the external factors. Try your best to get away from the external factors to the best you can. This is so important. Be very realistic. Don't be unrealistic. Some people, they are very unrealistic, right? Some people, one point they were studying with me in Delhi, and because of being Buddha is so peaceful, nice. So we have to see everyone like Buddha. Oh, everyone is nice. Nobody's unkind. Everybody's good, right? Then when you actually meet with somebody who's so unkind, then you are shocked, right? And then you give up Buddhism, right? So this is where you are being very, very unrealistic. The point is, for you, it is not necessary for you to be Buddhist. This is not the point. The point is what? What is your purpose? What's the meaning of life? Be kind to yourself and be wisely kind to yourself, right? Simply because you're shocked, don't stop being wisely kind to yourself. Continue to be kind to yourself. Continue to be wisely kind to yourself. This is very important. With this mind, the point is that all our problems, somehow they are connected with the two factors, external and internal. These two come together, invariably arises the sound of the miseries. Okay, now tell me how feasible it is. We blame external factors, always external factors, right? My neighbor, right? And then the sun, the hot, in the winter cold. We never blame inside. We always blame outside, right? Which means that we want happiness. If you want happiness, if you don't want miseries, then you have to, since that you only see the external, you should be able to get into the external. But how feasible is it that you can get into all the external factors? How feasible it is? Anyone? Impossible that we can get into all the external factors. You're getting it? Because, say, when you're by yourself, you'll say that I'm very lonely. When you're with other people, you say I have no privacy. Right? So external factors, you have to confront with one of these two external factors. Either you should be by yourself or you should be with other people. Right? Even if you're in a Buddha land, either you should be with the Buddha or without the Buddha. Either by yourself or with the other person. By yourself, you feel yourself what? Lonely. With other people, you see I have no privacy. Buddha, please stay away. Right? I need privacy. So the point is, what I'm saying is that this is a problem. External factors, we always blame outside external factors, and we crave for total cessation of suffering. And yet the reality is that for the total cessation of suffering, we cannot get into the external factors completely. External factors, they are innumerable in number. Innumerable, right? Say, your lifespan is too short to think of getting rid of the external factors. You getting it? So, analogy given by the Bodhisattva Shanti, they were amazingly great. Say, if we're going through the problems, stress, depression, anxiety, and so forth, and if you don't want these problems, how many of you sometimes have these problems and who don't want these problems, raise your hands? Some people who don't mind having these problems, raise your hands. No one, right? If you really have these problems once in a while, and if you don't want these problems at all, the one thing that you can do most effectively is get hold of the book, Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life, by Bodhi Sarvachanideva. Get hold of this book and try to make this book familiar to you. Make yourself very familiar with this book and your problems will be overcome. You're getting it? This is so important. So there, what he said, this, I met with many psychologists, world-renowned psychologists, and I see that from meeting with all these psychologists, this book is the best book on psychology, particularly clinical psychology. Particularly clinical psychology, right? Okay, so what is said there is, he gave a beautiful analogy that, say, if you want to go, if you don't want to, if you have some, say, the feet problem with your feet, and you cannot put your slippers or the shoes on, they will walk barefooted, and then the thorns and the pebbles, they prick you, right? Prick you. So how to avoid this problem? Okay, please cover the land with the leather so that I can walk smoothly, right? Okay, how feasible it is to cover the entire earth with the leather. What he said is that it is impossible to get that amount of the leather to cover the entire earth. What is more practical is just cover the 2 tiny feet with the leather. 2 tiny leathers, and the walk. That suffices covering the entire earth with the leather. Right? Likewise, you blame external factors, this factor, that factor, this my neighbor, this hot weather, this, the food with this problem, with that problem, this water with this problem, that problem, this government, that government, this problem, the terrorism, corruption. Oh, we just blame, always we blame outside. Outside factors are there. I'm not saying that outside factors are not created by you. This is not what I'm saying. Outside factors are there. But what do you want? You want the outside factors to go away, or you want your miseries to go away? Right? Say, the point is that if possible, both. Very good. But if there is a possibility, if the reality is that your external factors will never come to an end, because even what is considered as good factor is also bad factor, right? With your thinking. Whereas the miseries, if it comes to an end, the external factors exist, not exist, it doesn't matter at all to you. You're getting it? So therefore, the point is, how do we then, trying to think of removing the external factors, it's almost next to the impossibility. So what is what's the thing to do? Of the 2 hands, just see if you can remove the internal factors. Then the external factors, however ferocious, however strong, however forceful, however turbulent it is, the sound of the misery stops. This is what you are seeking, right? So it doesn't mean that external factors don't exist. External factors do exist, you have to admit them. But if you remove the internal factor, then it suffices eradicating the external factors. Because the purpose for you blaming external factor all the time is expecting that all the miseries will come to an end. And miseries come to an end by removing the internal factors. Okay, now tell me, what is your next question?
How?
Yes, what is your name? Timur. Timur said, how? Anyone else? Anyone else? What is your next question? Okay, so here, Timur, on behalf of Timur, his question is a little shortcut. Question. So the actual question should be, what is the internal factors? What are the internal factors? Once you identify what the internal factors are, then the next question is, how to get rid of them? How will come later, right? It's direct. Timur comes with the direct, yeah, this is like a crash course, right? Okay, so what are the internal factors? What are the internal factors? And the next question is, how to get rid of them? With your first, what are the internal factors? Okay. Okay, what are the internal factors? For this, the topic, the practice of the 4 mindfulnesses. Practice of the applications of the four mindfulnesses. You get it? What are the internal factors? Okay, Leon, tea break, lunch break.